Alright, what's up? So, this is Call of Duty Modern Warfare Warzone, and I'm just gonna make a brief little tip video about your weapon options and like a weapons guide. That's what I actually want to call this, because so you've got a lot of choices. In the next video, I'll probably go more in depth with like loadouts and explain what perks are, what's good to use, what's good in combination with things, because that's going to be important as well. But right now I just want to teach you what the weapons are, how they're used. So you've got, in a loadout, you typically have it like this. You've got a primary weapon and a secondary weapon. Primary weapons mean like big guns. You got your categories are all up here: assault rifles, SMGs, shotguns, LMGs, Marksman rifles, which are a little different than sniper rifles, and then finally melee, which is like you have to equip it as a primary even though it's not a gun. And then in your secondary weapons, you've got handguns, launchers, and once again melee, but it's just a combat knife. First, I'm going to begin by going over the primary weapons, and then I'll go into the secondary weapons. I'll try to make a timestamp so that you can skip back and forth if you want to just watch one section. So, we'll start with the Kilo 141, and I believe it should show me some kind of stats down there. Alright, so you can kind of, there's not numbers set to the stats, but like obviously, like I guess numbers would be pretty irrelevant, and you're just comparing things. So here's the Kilo 141. Pretty like basic assault rifle. It's got decent iron sights on it. It's like a little circle with a another circle in the front, I believe, and that's going to be very good at mid-range and kind of good at close range. As far as long range though, this is not a good weapon to go with. You have fully automatic fire rate, and it's very steady. So again, that makes it good for medium range because you can hold down the full auto, and if you control the spray enough, then like you're still gonna hit a lot of shots. It's not very like crazy wonky all over the place with the recoil. So that's really important. And then like if you went into gunsmith too, you can also like, I don't think this has underbarrel, so you can actually add a an attachment underneath for like recoil control. But all in all, pretty basic, just very good with like recoil. That's what that weapon is all about. Next, you've got the FAL, which if you've played like Call of Duty even like a long time ago, like old ones, you know what the FAL is. Semi-automatic rifle, high rate of fire though, so it's not like it shoots slow. You just have to tap every time you want to shoot. It's obviously going to do more damage than the Kilo 141 because it's semi-automatic and not fully automatic. But the recoil is a little bit worse. It's got average recoil, I would say, and the range is going to be better too because of the fact that this is a little more controlled. It's also like what I'd call like a heavier gun, I guess. Just like shoots harder, so the range is going to be better. I know it's a bad way to describe it, but like, I hope you get me. Next I'm going to dive in the M4A1. This is a very all-around weapon. Like, I use that a lot, and I don't know if people know what all-around means, but it's like, in the Mario games, when you pick like Mario or Luigi, like their stats are usually described as all-around, meaning like, very average on everything, no strengths or weaknesses, just balanced. And that's the reason I love the M4. It's on my main loadout I always take, and like I always love finding this in the drops and stuff. But yeah, M4A1 has like decent range, pretty good damage, pretty impressive for a full automatic rifle. It's also really good to control, and shoots kind of fast. It's not on the slow side, I guess. All in all, super reliable weapon. But that's about all I've got to say. Next, you have the FR 5.56, which some may call FAMAS. It's probably easy to remember it as. And this one, unlike in some Call of Duty games, this FAMAS is actually going to be a 3-round burst. So it's very good at like medium to long range because it shoots burst shots, so it's not really about going full auto spray mode. It's very accurate on target, pinpoint, and it's really nice. Of course, you've got 3-round bursts, so you're not going to be firing at as high of a rate as some guns, but you'll really find that like if all 3 of those bullets hit, if you really line up your shot like around the neck range and let it like drag up with the recoil, it's awesome. Recoil is also pretty minimal on the FAMAS, I've noticed, so you don't even have to worry about that very much. Really cool gun. Can't go full spray mode up close, so like really bad up close, but all in all, FAMAS is not a bad thing to find, especially if you've already got a close weapon like an SMG in your inventory. Next, I'll go over the Odin. This is a fully automatic rifle, and I don't think I've used this yet, unless it was in a in like one of the modified forms where you find it in the chests. But I will say that this weapon is high damage and like long range, but it's gonna be like really heavy on the recoil, so you're gonna want like tap fire it unless you're up close, which would of course make this pretty reliable for up close. Which speaking of reliable up close, the next rifle I'm seeing on the list is the M13. Now this thing, not a lot of range, but what it lacks there, it makes up for in accuracy and in like fire rate. This thing's great up close, medium to short range. I've accidentally like ran into somebody in the middle of a building and just started hip firing this thing and torn them to shreds when I hear them shooting an SMG at me. So it's great. M13 is like super badass. I would almost recommend carrying this if you have a sniper, which, you know, we'll be going over later, but like this and a sniper is like very, very good and very hard to, oh, what do I have? Shit popping up on my screen. Very, this is a good substitute for like an up close weapon if you've got a sniper, because you want it for medium range too if you've got a sniper. And finally, we've got the Scar. Once again, this is full auto, but it's a high caliber full auto rifle, so it doesn't shoot that fast like compared to most full auto rifles, but it's hard hitting, whole lot of fucking damage. I remember like when I first started playing this, I was picking up Scars all the time, even though they were like really common, really easy to find, just because I liked them in the like in regular Call of Duty, like Modern Warfare 2 is what I think of typically. And yeah, they definitely do not disappoint in this game. Yeah, it says provides high damage over long ranges, and that's as accurate as you can get. You can really like laser somebody using a Scar. It's badass. So yeah, that's really good, but it's not gonna be the best up close once again. Low fire rate, high recoil. It's gonna mess with you a little bit. So that's it for the assault rifles, I think. Oh, just kidding. No. We got 3 more. AK-47. How could I forget? I've only found a couple of these so far, and it's about what you expect from an AK-47. It feels a lot like the Call of Duty 4 AK-47 felt. Of course, it's full automatic, high damage, and good for tap shooting at long range. But the recoil is insane. It even says there requires skill to control recoil. It's gonna be like a spray machine all over the place if you try to hold that trigger down. So like even at medium range, I would say still tap fire. If somebody gets in your face and you're desperate, hold it down, but like tap fire the AK-47 and you will not be disappointed, especially if you've got a really good like trigger finger, very disciplined, like very fast. It'd be awesome. Ram 7 is up next, and this is full auto again. This is another one of those assault rifles that's very clearly equipped for close range. You can even tell that just by the fact that it's really like short and stubby. So great for short to medium range. This is something I would run if I was like in an area where I wasn't going to be on any rooftops or out in the open. I'd run this with like a shotgun, but it would also pair amazingly with a sniper. Once again, you know, you need that medium in the close range when you're carrying a sniper, because the sniper won't be good at either one of those features. And the damage output from it is not that bad. Probably going to be a little bit higher than most SMGs, but fire rate is not going to be compared to most SMGs. So just keep that in mind too. This is just to like supplement your medium range if you're carrying a sniper. And last, we've got the Grau 5.56. This one I'm also not familiar with. It's funny how much it looks like an MP5 in its shape. Judging by the stats, this is going to be something that's a little bit of like a spray machine. Not that crazy on damage, but like mostly balanced between like range and damage. I would find myself using this in place of an M4, I suppose, in like a loadout maybe. If you wanted a loadout, especially if you threw attachments on this thing, it would start to get really, really nice, because you'd be starting on level ground and then building your own weapon. So that's what this would be really cool for, but it doesn't seem to be like, doesn't seem to have a necessary like strength or weakness to it. So that's what that is. Now we're gonna move on to the SMGs. And this video is going to turn out to be kind of long, but that's good because there's a lot of information. I don't want to short anybody on information. I would go in and like try to demo most of these weapons, but I can only imagine how much longer that would make the video and how much longer it would make it to create the video. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you descriptions. Trust my words. I have played a lot of Call of Duty. It's even on my channel, I guess you could see. But so here's SMGs, and the P90 is first. This is full auto, very high fire rate spray machine. It doesn't actually like lose control a lot either, which is like nice compared to most games, I guess. Like a CSGO, for example, the P90 just goes all over the place, but in this game it's pretty controlled. You're just not gonna find the bullets to be accurate, so like if you're trying to line up your crosshair on somebody and tap fire one bullet, probably won't hit them if they're not real close. And the damage isn't that high, but where it lacks in damage, it makes up in fire rate. This weapon will fire very quickly, and your DPS is going to be kind of high. Close range, this thing will shred somebody. If you run into a building and somebody's running out that same doorway and you just start to hold down the trigger, you don't even have to hit a single headshot, they're dead. They don't have a chance. So that's awesome. P90 is close quarters. Next up is the MP5, which is really dope. It's like it's the M4 of SMGs. It's very balanced, very all around level. You can actually like tap fire a little bit at like medium range, but not too much, especially if you've got like optics on it. If you've got a sight mounted on top, that's gonna help you a lot. And it's again not very high on damage, but you can hit a lot of bullets in a very short amount of time. So that's what makes the MP5 good. And just general feel, like talking, you know, not in the technical respect, but general feel for this weapon when I've used it, it feels amazing. So I recommend the MP5 in one of your loadouts. The Uzi is up next, and this one is my favorite. Oh, just kidding. It is not my favorite at all. Take that and forget that I said it. It is it's still fully auto, of course, as this SMG hopefully is going to be, but it's not very high. It's not a very high fire rate. It doesn't fire very quickly. I imagine this is a weapon that like I would take if I found it, but I wouldn't want to keep it I don't know, I don't have a lot of good things to say about the Uzi. It's not that good. The PP Bison is on here as well, and kind of the same as the Uzi, but there's some upgraded versions of it, like that I would recommend. I don't know if it'll let me look at. Yes, it will. The Gunsmith here. Cause see, I've used this like a good bit, so like I want to say, yeah, it's definitely a sight when it helped. And is there any way to like? That doesn't let me look at it. But I swear there was something too that like helped me with the damage on that one time. It could have been like FMJ or something, but like the damage on the Bison just kind of sucks. And so if you can find like an attachment or something else that will help the damage on it, then that will significantly improve that weapon. Next is the MP7, which is my actual favorite. It's actually really easy to find these two, and that makes them very, very balanced. They have a really high fire rate. They actually do like a pretty significant amount of damage, and they're super easy to control. Like if you want to hit all headshots with an SMG, like short medium range, I guess they'd call it, this is what you want. This is what I carry around when I'm walking in stairwells or inside a building, as long as I'm not looking down like a big hallway. This is the best thing that I could ever have up close. Best I could ever ask for. And the Striker 45 is last, which you might recognize as a UMP 45. And this is very high damage SMG. This thing puts out damage like no other. It's like the Modern Warfare 2 UMP, but like I guess not as overpowered because Warzone's played a lot differently. Yeah, really high damage. Fire rate's not like out of control. It's not like super hard spray, but it's very, very nice. It's still higher than like an assault rifle, and you can actually tap fire this at medium range too if you wanted, which is how it was run in Modern Warfare 2. Typically it was used like at short to medium range. You could tap fire at medium range and like headshot people. Super cool. So Striker 45s are like pretty good for loadouts. If you can put that in a loadout and get it in a drop, run that with like a sniper or something, then the damage that you're outputting is going to be crazy. You're going to be killing people so fast. Next we're going to go into the shotguns because we ran out of SMGs. This is probably going to be my least experienced category because I don't run shotguns a lot unless it's like the first thing I find. The R9O, yeah, I never knew the specifics about this weapon. I just knew it shoots kind of fast, which is surprising for a shotgun. And it turns out it's a double barrel that lets you like rapid fire the two shots, and then you have to rechamber it. So you can kill somebody almost instantly with this thing. It does a whole lot of damage in a short amount of time, but you gotta hit those two shots. Then you gotta reload it. So if you find one of these, recognize that shape because it's shaped really weird. And yeah, if you're carrying that around, just remember after those two shots, you're gonna start reloading. Next is a break action over/under shotgun called the 725, and it's once again you're gonna shoot two shots, then you gotta reload. This thing has a little bit better accuracy and range, so if you wanted to like shoot somebody that's a little further away, like not like stuffed in your face, then this would be great. But still remember you gotta reload after those two shots. And that's about all there is on that. Just great on damage though, even at like a kind of significant range, which is really cool for a shotgun. It's impressive. The Origin 12 shotgun is here. This one's semi-auto, and I believe it. How many rounds does it have in the magazine? I don't know if it says here. That would be really significant for me to explain about these weapons, but it doesn't seem to tell me on here. Origin 12 kind of implies it might be 12 shots though, so I'm gonna go with that for now. But yeah, this is like the striker, I think it was in Modern Warfare 2, like but not a drum, I guess, so it won't have as many shots as the striker. But yeah, you've got like semi-auto, so you can keep going. You don't have to pump or anything. There's no weight. But because of that, damage is kind of weak compared to most shotguns. It's still not weak, but weak compared to most shotguns. Keep that in mind. And the last one on this list is the BLK Rogue. This one is once again a little bit weak compared to most shotguns, but you can like put a lot of mods on this. This is like another one of those like weak weapons that you upgrade and it turns out to be pretty cool. It's just not very like accurate to its shots at like medium range and stuff, and so it like the weakened damage seems weird, but you can upgrade it and make that all better. So I really don't suggest using this unless you've got it leveled up, which I guess requires using it. So I don't know, use it in games that you're not that set on winning. Use it in practice games. How about that? But now the shotguns are done. I'm gonna move on to the LMGs, which are another thing I don't use very much. LMGs all are very, very slow to pull out. That's what I don't like. If you're trying to switch to your LMG, you're gonna get killed unless you're behind cover. So usually that's hard to do. Like if you're switching weapons and there's somebody anywhere near you, then you want it to be fast. Which there's perks to help that, but an LMG is an LMG. Compared to everything else, it's gonna be slower. However, when you sacrifice pullout speed, you are in turn getting very high damage output with pretty like awesome range, like better damage and range than assault rifles. Just kind of slow, especially to reload and to pull out. That being said, we're gonna go to the PKM. This is like the standard of LMGs. It's gonna have a pretty big magazine, and the damage is huge. You can tap fire people at long range. You can spray somebody down at medium range. Like just let it loose. Like you don't have to tap fire in medium range. And yeah, pretty badass. I don't ever use them, but like I definitely recommend this one if you think LMGs suit you because of the high damage output or anything like that. Oh shit, I keep clicking on things by accident. The SA-87 is here next. This one's actually a little slower than most LMGs to fire, but it pulls out faster, so that's kind of cool. And the damage is like pretty high, but not quite as high as the PKM, as you can see by the little comparison down there. Range is like still really good, accuracy is still really good, and yeah, that's about all there is to compare with that. It's gonna fire a little bit faster, it's gonna have a little bit less range, and it's got pretty high recoil, which you're gonna find is common with LMGs though. M91 is up next, even less recoil on this, or even more recoil on this one, and it's still gonna be really powerful. The damage is compared to the PKM, and it fires a little bit faster than the PKM. Also looks like that's a really huge magazine, so you don't have to reload that often, which is nice because reloading LMGs, as we know, is slow. The MG34 is next. That's a drum magazine, which is going to be really huge. Also fires very quickly, probably pulls out slow as fuck considering how large it is. That's probably what that mobility thing is implying in the stats down there. And it's not very accurate, but you can tap fire at long range and like it's gonna carry. So that one's kind of cool. This just looks like a cannon, and I'd say the stats agree with that. So last is the Holger 26, and this one is just like an all-around weapon. A lot of the stats are like kind of lower than most LMGs, some are a little higher. This one's just really gonna give you like a good mix of everything, and it includes once again one of those drum magazines, which is gonna have a very large amount of rounds before you have to reload. So that sounds like a really cool LMG. Also, just a small note, judging by the size of it, it probably doesn't pull out as slow as most LMGs, but it probably doesn't pull out quite as fast as the SA-87. So that's the rest of the LMGs. I'm going to move on to Marksman rifles. Very short list here. We start with the EBR-14, which I recognized from Modern Warfare 2. What was it? It was like an M14 EBR, I think, was that weapon, and it's that same weapon. Semi-automatic rifle. It's going to do really high damage. It's going to be really accurate. The range is going to be like a little better than the typical AR, but it's slower. It's a lot slower than an AR. Just kind of like a big punch. I imagine these guns as like, what if you had a sniper with no scope that did a little less damage? And yeah, that's what all the Marksman rifles are. So next up is the Mark II carbine, which is actually not semi-auto. This one's a lever action, so every time you fire, you'll have to like hit the lever to push the next round in. Probably not very many in a magazine, so keep that in mind. It's probably 5 or 6 if I had to just take a guess. I've never used it. But it's cool. It's gonna be like really high damage, probably slightly more. Oh yeah, a good bit more than the EBR. And yeah, so that's why it fires a lot slower, because you've got to let the lever go, but it's going to be higher damage. So they typically try to balance things like that, and it's intuitive in a way, but I like to explain that anyway, because maybe you're not familiar with Call of Duty. A lot of people are coming to this game from games like Apex or Fortnite and never really got that in Call of Duty, that they learned how the weapons worked and stuff. So that's why I wanted to make this. And moving right back into this, the Kar 98K is next in the Marksman rifles. This one's bolt action, so once again you've got to run the bolt every time that you fire a round. So you're firing one at a time, and again it's probably going to be like 4 or 5 in the magazine before you have to reload. But the damage is huge. Kar 98Ks are insane on damage, and the range is going to be pretty nice. I see on the stats it's saying it's not very long range, but I disagree with that. I feel like the range on this has got to be pretty good. Just remember, it's gonna shoot really slow. This, as well as the lever action, since it only shoots one weapon, or it only shoots one round, and then you have to like you know, load the next one in with the action. Consider like peeking around a corner, shooting one shot, and then ducking back and taking cover again, because that's going to be your best bet at like not getting shot back. So keep that in mind with these. You can't really do that with the shotguns that are 2 rounds, because you're probably too close to duck around cover and reload. So last on the Marksman rifles is the crossbow, and I've never seen this, but it's literally a crossbow. So the damage is actually insane. It does more damage than all the Marksman rifles, and yeah, it's just gonna fire a bolt, and then you probably put the next one in. I doubt that there's like a magazine or anything to auto load them. Oh, you can also recover your bolts, so that's important as far as like ammo management goes. You fire a bolt, it kills somebody, you can run up to their body and pull it back out. I like that. That's really cool. It says here too that it has some special customization options, so I'm interested to see that once I unlock it. That sounds really fun. And yeah, it definitely add up with the next bolt in, because you see that fire rate so low. So it definitely is going to be really high damage, really fun, but keep in mind it's going to be shoot one shot and then hide, because you got to load the next bolt in. It's also going to use very special ammo that might be kind of hard to find, so also keep that in mind. I've noticed sniper ammo and small ammo are so easy to find in this game, and everything else I'm not quite sure. Rockets usually too, actually. So that's it for Marksman rifles. Sniper rifles are next, and the first one's the Dragunov. I love the Dragunov. I think it's my favorite in this game, but I'm not sure. I haven't given the other ones very much of a chance. I just knows that the Dragunov feels very balanced. Pretty good damage, very high accuracy. This will hit where you aimed. If you want to hit headshots all the time and feel like a badass, run a Dragunov. Especially like the upgraded ones that you can get out of like the little gold chests and stuff. They're crazy. I just hop around on rooftops with a Dragunov and pop people. It's fun. Again, all the snipers you want to keep in mind to run something that's gonna supplement your medium range and your close range, because these things suck at medium and close range, all of them. But this is also semi-auto, which is unique in that you like fire off a shot, and then you fire off another shot, and you fire off another shot. I think there's about 6 rounds in a magazine, but I could be wrong. It's got to be close to that though. So that's really nice. Usually, like, because you can't like build in this game, and like it's also really hard to tell where shots are coming from, I've noticed. So like you hit somebody, and typically their like confusion washes over them, and if you like really stay focused, you can keep popping them with the Dragunov, and it's amazing. So Dragunov is my #1 recommendation out of all the snipers. If you really want to get into sniping and stuff, try playing with that. Next up on the list is going to be HDR, which it says it's an anti-material rifle. If you're familiar with Fallout Vegas, there's the anti-material rifle in that game. And yeah, this is just like a very, very long range rifle. Probably very good like bullet penetration through objects, and the damage is going to be a little nicer than the Dragunov because this one's bolt action, so you fire one shot and then you gotta pull back the bolt. So remember to like go prone or duck behind something after you fire a shot at this thing, because somebody's gonna be like, whoa, a sniper bullet just came past me. And if they have a sniper or anything that's gonna supplement their long range, then you're gonna be in trouble if you missed. Or if there's anybody else around too, keep that in mind. You're against a lot more than one person at a time usually. So HDR is cool. Didn't know much about it, but I like the sound of it. And then you've got the AX50, which is like the highest damage weapon. But once again, you've got bolt action. It's probably gonna take longer too to pull back than the HDR. But it looks like it's got a larger magazine. If I had to compare that, it's gonna have a larger magazine, so you got more shots before you have to like reload it, a new mag in. The range is also, yeah, definitely higher than the HDR. Or no, it's lower. Just kidding. I was looking at the damage. Definitely lower than the HDR. I figured that they would probably take range down due to the damage. So when it comes to hitting shots really far out, you probably get some bullet drop, I think. Yeah, require precise shots over long distances. The accuracy, I think, drops as well. Yeah, the accuracy drops slightly. So just know that it's not going to be right in the middle of your crosshair. It's not perfect. And that's all we've got for snipers. So now, finally, melee weapons. It's just a riot shield. I don't know. I don't really suggest using this unless you want to play memes, you know? Like, you could either, like, you could run 2 primary weapons, I guess, and then have an actual, like, gun, like an SMG or something. But you're not really going to be, like, well-rounded if you're carrying a riot shield. It's probably, like, memes-only territory here. Modern Warfare 2 was really fun to fuck around with riot shields and do funny tactics, and so look that up on YouTube if you get bored. And that's all we've got for primary weapons. So now we can finally delve into the secondary weapon territory, which is going to be a lot shorter, of course. First, you've got your handguns. The X16 is very basic. It's good up close, fires kind of fast, not that fast, and the damage is like not that big. Compare this to a Glock in most games, namely like CSGO. But it's cool. I mean, as you can see, I use it a good bit, and I like it, so there's nothing wrong with it, just not very high on the damage. Next is the 1911, which is going to be the opposite of that. This is higher on damage, a little better at longer range. It's gonna fire a bit slower, I believe. Oh, definitely fires slower than the X16. So just note that. But yeah, as far as like a little bit more range and a little bit more damage, then the 1911 has that for you. So that's actually what I've got equipped on this loadout, despite the fact that I've never used this loadout. When I drop loadouts, I always take my loadout 1, which is my M4 with like an SMG on it, I believe. Next for handguns is the 357, which is huge on damage. Lots of damage. Also really good for like kind of like medium range. Kind of like pop somebody, get those headshots, especially line them up. Very accurate weapon. Shoots very slowly though. Keep that in mind. You can't like pop with this thing. And I've noticed, it sounds weird, right? But a red dot sight on this is like pretty good, I've found. Just from like picking up other people's 357s. It'll have a red dot sight on it, and I roll with it, and it's good. Probably, I guess it just helps you line up those shots at like medium range, and I like it. So 357, nothing bad to say about it, just know it shoots slow. M19 is also very Glock-like, very all around and like basic. However, it's gonna be like really solid for like spraying quickly because it's not gonna have very much recoil. The damage, of course, is going to be sacrificed due to the higher fire rate and better recoil control. But just know that like if you're having trouble with pistols, they seem to be like kind of like pulling back on you too much. Try the M19 out. You might like it. And last is the 50 GS. This is just a Desert Eagle in disguise. We all know how the Deagle do. Very long range, pop somebody at like medium range, and like if you get a headshot, they might be dead or very weak. The recoil is insane, shoots very slow, but that damage though. So we all like a Desert Eagle in our games. It's always fun. That's all I have for handguns. So now I'm gonna move to launchers. The Pila is up first. This looks like this is a surface-to-air missile, huh? It's probably the kind that does this lock on. Self-propelled missiles have a higher speed and moderate explosive field. Does not sound like it's lock on, no. So this would be like the what did they call it? I can't remember what they call it in Modern Warfare 2. But this you can free fire it. Oh, okay, yeah, no, you can free fire it or lock on. So you could lock on to like a helicopter flying above, you could lock on to like a truck driving by, or you can just free fire it if there's somebody in front of you. Very just, you know, do whatever you want rocket launcher. But the damage isn't going to be like the highest. However, the range looks like it's really good, so it looks like the rockets don't explode like after flying just a little bit, which is going to be really important. Next you've got the Strela P, which, let me read that, it's unguided, so this one's completely free fire. A little better damage than the Pila there, but you can't lock one, just keep that in mind. The range is huge again, and the accuracy is pretty good. So yeah, this is just straight up like probably shooting at people would be best. You can't really like take cover from rockets very easily in this game. Like your best bet if a rocket's coming at you is to like run and then start to shoot the person while they're reloading another rocket. They're scary, and some people know how to use them better than others. My advice would be like, yeah, treat it like a sniper, or not a sniper, treat it like a the Marksman rifles where you pop your shot off and then hurry up and duck behind something. Your safest bet because it takes so long to reload. But next, I'm going to go into the Joker, which is lock on only. Great for destroying people and vehicles. I don't know why I would ever want to carry around any of these rocket launchers, by the way, unless I was desperate. But this would be nice if you like put in a loadout, for instance, and then loadout drop yourself this rocket launcher because somebody is harassing you in like a helicopter or something. So keep that in mind, and try to pop somebody with this. Try to blow up their vehicle and knock them out. It would probably be really cool. I can see the damage is nice. It has huge range, so you can probably lock one from really far. And yeah, that's all there is on this Joker. Just remember, it's gonna reload really slowly, so protect yourself if you can. And last is the RPG, which we are all familiar with RPGs. Much higher damage than most of these. It's once again just like unguided, you know, refire rocket launcher. And this also has a high range, so you can just kind of like let that missile fly and keeps going. However, the accuracy is not very good. It probably does that little swirly. I don't think I picked up an RPG, but it probably kind of swirls around a bit within where your crosshair is at, so it's not going to hit right in the center of where you aim at. Keep that in mind if you ever pick up an RPG. And that's it for launchers. Last, we've got the melee weapon, which is the combat knife. It's a CQC tactical knife, which is going to replace your it'll probably replace your melee attack. I'm not sure, because I haven't used one. But it sounds like it would, because it sounds like it's that kind of weapon, right? But nonetheless, you know, gives you a knife attack, because as we know, when you hit melee, you don't knife somebody, you just you hit them with the butt of your gun. And this is going to do more damage and be faster than hitting somebody with the butt of your gun. So if you wanted to have like really solid melee capability, and like say you're running some assault rifle that makes you very confident in like covering all the ranges that you need, then run the combat knife. This'll like completely obliterate somebody who gets in your face, or who you surprise around a corner. Yeah, it sounds really cool, and that's about how you'd want to use it. So that covers all the weapons. Sorry that this video is so long, there's just a lot to choose from in this game. And I hope that they expand it. I hope that they actually add more weapon options over time, because I'd like to have more guns to play with. It's always fun to learn the ways that they differ and compare and all that good stuff. But thank you for watching. Keep in mind, this is not going to be the only tutorial I make based on this game. Next, I'm going to make a video about loadouts, and then I also plan to create a tutorial on how to win the Gulag, because I've noticed a lot of players tend to struggle at winning the Gulag, and it's not a very hard thing to do. So I want to share that knowledge with everybody. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope anything that I said helped you, and if it did, make sure you comment and let me know what, just so I know ways that I can improve these videos. Let me know too if there's anything that could have been better, and I'll make sure it's better in the next video. But have a great day, and I will see you next time.